Welcome to the flea market, the orphanage of the consumer world. The idea of a flea market is sad. Think about it. Being on the shelf at a flea market is only a small step up from being thrown in the trash. Lots of the countless consumer products that get made every year probably find themselves at a flea market at some point before they meet the trash compactor. All of these things were made to be on a shelf, packaged and consumed, to be chosen against a competitor. But right now, no one wants these things, not even their owners. They are the orphans of the consumer world, and the flea market is their orphanage. Even the operating hours of this particular flea market are indicative of its nature. It's only open on the weekends since everyone's got better things to do during the week. The vendors display their various articles in the hopes that they'll find a good home in an enthusiastic patron. But during the experience of browsing their wares and woes, one can't help but think, who would ever buy some of this stuff? A collection of jewel cassettes? The most hideous fish lights you've ever seen? A creepy resin clock that looks like it was made by Ed Gein and has a horrible screeching hum? Book racks become ghettos where untold numbers of discarded copies of Chicken Soup for the Soul, Stephen King, and Tom Clancy novels, rife with spine creases, collect the dust that's later decided is not important enough to wipe off. Around one corner lies a merchant eagerly pushing collectible laminated Canadian dollar bills upon passers-by. Around another unassuming corner lies a veritable Nerf arsenal, no doubt once owned by some neighborhood's young Rambo from decades past, long since asked to retire his cherished collection to the whim of a weird, thrifty uncle. Bins upon bins of decrepit, heavily worn VHS copies of old movies are haphazardly strewn about below tables. They have that weird, sticky grime on them, like they've been used in ways you could never imagine, treated with unfathomable combinations of fruit juices, sodas, melted candy, artificial flavoring, and closed hand sweat. They look like they're begging to be euthanized before the unbearable agony of the next movie night. Perhaps even sadder than the abundance of dirty, heavily worn kitsch is the surprising amount of brand new sealed products one can easily find at these places. And I don't mean sealed as in rare or valuable, quite the opposite. Somehow, in their path from production to near trash, no one even bothered to open these things. Initial consumption wasn't part of their equation. Their best hope is in being recycled. Sealed copies of Don Cherry's Rock'em Sock'em 25 are littered among box sets of TV shows you haven't heard of since the mid-2000s. But every now and again, once in a blue moon, if you get lucky, you'll find something that makes it all worthwhile. Maybe you'll find a relatively unmolested DVD copy of A Mighty Wind, or a replica weapon from The Lord of the Rings. Or maybe these old wrestling dolls. Do you remember these? Boy, do I ever. We used to wrestle them against one another, but more often than not, it simply amounted to whipping them across the room. And they'd get these weird discolorations from all the abuse. Look, you can see these ones have them here. These dolls are heavy, too. For real, I hate to use such a cliche, but they really don't make them like this anymore. What a treat. The point is that a flea market is about taking the time to sort through the garbage, the rabble, and the mediocrity, in order to find those diamonds in the rough. And in that way, it's a microcosm of the experience of living. Sorting through the quantity to get through the quality. We see and meet countless people in our lifetime, but only a small number of them are deemed special enough to be kept close. We experience and consume so many different activities, foods, and forms of media, yet we've curated them all down to a decided set of favorites. Living the good life is all about finding the hidden gems in the roughage of our experience. It's all about finding something to love. So think about that the next time you're at a flea market and you're confronted by a strange golden C-3PO with a twirly cork opener penis.